Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and to a brand new episode of Writing Wednesdays. Today we have a new question, so let's get started. Some countries spend a lot of money to make bicycle usage easier. Why is this? And is this the best solution to traffic congestion? So first things first, we need to figure out what type of essay this is, and you can see two questions right here. And so, yeah, this is easily a two-part question essay. These tend to be quite uncommon, but they're very straightforward. So anyway, as I always do, I'll have my main ideas and then my supporting ideas. You can do it either way. This is just what I prefer. So, why is this? Why do countries spend a lot of money to make bicycle usage easier? I would say it's probably because, well, it's good for the environment. Yeah. It's encouraging bicycle use, offers benefits for the environment. It's good for, reducing traffic congestion is going to make people's lives more comfortable, but it kind of is the same thing. Ultimately, reducing traffic also helps the environment. So I don't know, I might just go with this point. Let me think about it. Spend a lot of money to make bicycle use easier. Encouraging or making bicycle use easier, something like that. Offers benefits for the environment and for the economy because, well, yeah, offers a range or is highly for the country. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so the first thing is it's good. It prevents harm to the environment, obviously. And if you have a country that's less polluted, and in all senses of the word, I also mean noise pollution, it's good. It's good because your citizens will be healthier. You'll spend less money on healthcare as a country. And of course, if people are healthy, they're happier, they're more productive. I could write a lot about that. Is highly beneficial for the country, prevents harm to the environment, and it reduces, of course, it reduces traffic. And what else? Reduces government costs. Well, infrastructure. You don't have to, for example, well, you still have to invest in infrastructure, but I can talk about this. In fact, let me make that. Oh, I heard a strange noise. Anyway, again, I heard a strange noise. I'm getting kind of spooked. Anyway, right, so reduces government costs, prevents harm. Because see, if your environment is damaged, you have to spend money to fix your environment, right? So obviously, that's kind of a no-brainer. And then my second main idea, is this the best solution to traffic congestion? That being said, there are better ways to fix traffic. For example, a bicycle can only fit like two people at most, right? But if you invest in train infrastructure, for example, right? Trains are so efficient. They're better than airplanes. They're better than buses. They're better than any kind of system you may have. So yeah, I personally prefer trains. It's the best solution. Despite the many benefits. There are better ways to reduce, let's say, deal with traffic issues. Or, okay, I don't need the word many. Let's keep it simple. Okay, there are more effective ways. Okay, wait, there we go. Train infra you need, because anyway, see, for example, you grow your crops in one part of the country and you need to transport them to another part of the country. Are you going to do it on bicycles? Of course not. You need some kind of long distance carrier, and that is often, trucks and things like that. Of course, they're important, but usually you find that more commonly in countries where, for example, the US, where a train system really hasn't been developed. It's very car centric. It's very motor vehicle centric. So train infrastructure, that is, I mean, it beats bicycles. I mean, bicycles are limited, because again, you can only transport a few people, two people, that's it, three people, maybe if you have a baby, but that's like super risky. And they're more is this the best solution? No, because train infrastructure is, I think this should actually be my first point, right? And then I can have trains are better, because of course they can transport so many people. And then also another problem with bicycles is the speed, they're also very slow. Yeah, they tend to be slow. So investing in train infrastructure is much better. Slow, and also limited distance, limited use. There we go. So I got all my ideas. The next thing to do is to write an introduction. Some countries spend a lot of money to make bicycle usage easier. Let's see. Lately it has become, I mean, using a bicycle, showing off that you're a very eco-friendly person, I think that's become kind of a trend these days. Or maybe young people are just more sensitive compared to older people to, our environment. So, promoting bicycle usage. Oh no, I don't want to copy the same phrase. The bicycle as a means thought has always been a favorite. In fact, it's even more popular nowadays, especially in countries where obviously you have good infrastructure. The bicycle as a means of transport has always been a public favorite. With more and more, especially now, with more and more young, well, I don't need to repeat that twice, with more with increasing numbers of young people being especially interested in, I don't need to write young people, I guess, especially now with increasing concerns, right, about the environment and life in congested cities. Okay. Okay, that's good. And then, why is this? Is this the best solution? I just need to answer those questions. So, why is this? Governments often support this idea to help, or support this idea for its for let's say because of a range of governments often support this idea, support, not just support, but encourage, but I've already used encourage, so I don't want to repeat that so often support this idea because of its apparent beneficial nature. I've already used that, so let's use something else instead. Maybe we can say it is, in general, we could say advantages, favorable, yeah, because of its apparent advantages to society. Although there exist alternatives. There we go. And that's 43 words. That's perfect. You don't need more than that, although if you do want to write more, although there exist better alternatives to help, ameliorate, reduce, alleviate, fix. You can use any of those. Um, um, Concerns related to city life, maybe. I think I've said something about that. Traffic, because that's the point. Traffic is the point. So all of these have to be related to traffic. Okay, there we go. Now we've got our first paragraph, so we've got our first main idea. We'll put that over here, and then prevents harm. Like, most importantly, obviously, that goes without saying. Most importantly, bicycles play a huge role. It plays a large role in helping to prevent any damage to the environment, since bicycles do not use any kind of fuel. So they cannot emit any harmful pollutants. And this in turn, actually, I can just put in a full stop here. This in turn reduces government expenditure on cleaning up the environment, right? Cleaning up the environment or dealing with the effects, right? Negative effects of a damaged environment. Right? Now, it's a little bit on the smaller side, so what I'll do is I'll extend it. I just wanted to get my ideas out. So it plays a large role in helping to prevent any kind of damage to the environment, since bicycles do not use any kind of fuel, because of which they cannot emit any harmful pollutants. No matter, well, it's just so simple, they just use air. This in turn reduces government expenditure on fuel, because of which they cannot emit any harmful pollutants. Making them safe to use long term. Well, make them safe to use. This in turn reduces government expenditure on cleaning up the environment, or dealing with the negative effects of a damaged environment, right? And so that's a good thing ultimately, because you save money. You can use that money, allowing or freeing up, allowing those resources to be used in other sectors of the country or the economy. What can maybe even, for example, loss of flora and fauna. Also, I could think of increased healthcare costs, such as increased healthcare costs or the loss of biodiversity. So you don't have to then, people who live in a polluted environment, they often have issues related to, there's various types of cancer and whatnot, or people just fall sick over time. And well, in most countries around the world, you have socialized healthcare, and so the government is paying for that essentially. So if you invest in this instead, promoting bicycle use, it's good. You can ultimately, long term, you save money. This in the long run, or this in turn, this is fine. This is fine. And the last one, reduces traffic. Another obvious benefit, or we can say another goes without saying. No, you don't want to say things like goes without saying, so you avoid that. Maybe we could say another way in which, another using bicycles. Where's my why? What society is by reducing. But how does... Well, it's small, right? It doesn't take up a lot of space. help societies by reducing traffic. Since bicycles are quite thin, tend to be, yeah, of course, quite thin, compared to, obviously, tend to be thin, not even tend to be are, because that's a fact. And take up less space on the streets compared to cars or even motorbikes. You know, even a motorbike is no match for a bicycle. So, another way in which using bicycles helps society is by reducing traffic, since bicycles are thin and take up less space on the streets compared to cars or even motorbikes, allowing for relatively quick and unrestrained movement of people from one place to another. And finally, thus, people, promoting the use, promoting this to a country's citizens or even residents, really, because anybody who lives there, we have long-term benefit. There we go. Then the next one. Instead of wheel, I want to use wood. Okay, now here, bicycles, the biggest drawback is the fact that although they are environment friendly, bicycles can only transport a maximum of 2 people. If you have a number that's less than 10, just write the numbers name like TWO. It helps with creating a slightly more formal style. So bicycles can only transport a maximum of 2 people at one time, which is far less efficient compared to any other mode of transport. Almost any other mode of transport. In relation to their size, yeah, because they don't have much space, size, and the fact that, of course, you know, it doesn't use any kind of fuel. So maybe because they just don't have enough horsepower. But how am I gonna, because I don't understand like the technical terms. I'm not like a petrol head. I don't understand things about cars, so I'm not going to go into the technical details in relation to their size. It doesn't really have anything to do with their size, and the fact that due to their size, and the use of air as a fuel, and you know, it's a general non-motorized nature, right? Yeah, of course, and their non-motorized nature. Non-motorized, it doesn't have a motor, it doesn't use fuel. Obviously, you do have like these things. That's what a motorcycle. That's literally what a motorcycle is. Motor plus cycle, a cycle that has a motor. So obviously they're much quicker, and you know, you can go longer. I mean, how on earth? Some people do it, some people enjoy it, but it's not very practical or very comfortable. Most people probably wouldn't ride their bicycle 15-20 kilometers or something. Like, it sounds like a lot. Some people may, because again, if it's a hobby, of course you can do it, but most people won't, because again, it takes so much time, and of course, you know, it's very exhausting. And their non-motorized nature, they also can only they are able to slow, limited distance, limited use. Okay, they tend to be slow and can only be used for limited distances. Which prevents them from being, let's say, being used for more than just short trips, which essentially relegate them to short distance trips instead of commutes from, to and from school and work. Because a commute from your workplace or from your school, unless you're lucky and you live very close to your work or school, it tends to be quite, I mean, at least in my city, most people travel like 20, 30, maybe even more kilometers. And that's like an hour, maybe more than that every day. So due to the size and non-motorized nature, they tend to be slow and can only be used for limited distances, which essentially relegates them to short distance trips instead of commutes, long commutes to and from school and work. Instead of promoting, well, I've already said that. Instead of this, investing in train infrastructure could be a much more reasonable choice, especially since any country will need to have a transport route, right? To be able to make trade, yeah, intra-country trade easier. Investing in train infrastructure could be a much more reasonable choice, especially since any country will need to have a transport route, not just a transport routes, long distance transport routes will make intra-country trade easier. Sometimes even inter-country. Okay, and I think that's good enough. So then the last sentence, bicycles have limited effectiveness in controlling traffic. Oh, wait a second. I talk about traffic, but then there's well, due to the size, may slow. Increasing traffic in local areas. Instead of this, since any country will easier and quicker, reducing, let's say, transport times. I've already used the word transport so many times. Let me read my sentences. Although there are not friendly, bicycles can only transport a maximum of 2 people at a time, which is far less efficient compared to almost any other mode of transport, which can handle more people. Essentially, reducing traffic, right? Reduce size and be slow, which relegates them to short distance trips, increasing traffic in local areas. Instead of this, investing in train infrastructure could be a much more reasonable choice, especially in any country will need to have long distance transport routes to trade easier and quicker, reducing traffic. Okay, hence bicycles are limited effectiveness in controlling traffic. Wait, there we go. Reducing the number of vehicles on the road. Or you could say, for example, congestion bottlenecks. There we go. And highways even. There we go. Okay, then that's that. And so then the last thing I need is a conclusion. So in conclusion, it is evident that although despite the fact that bicycle use is generally something that should be encouraged, alternative means of transport must be investigated and promoted to ensure a non-polluted environment and low traffic, to ensure control over, yep, road congestion, or road traffic. What else? Oh yeah, and then if this is not done, such countries' economies, if this is not done in time, there we go. And so that's the whole thing. So the first paragraph, which is the introduction, the second paragraph, which is, well, body paragraph 1, then you have the third paragraph, body paragraph number 2, and finally you have a conclusion. You can also just pause the video to have a look and to read calmly. I will also be putting all these newer essays up in a different book. One of my books is already up, so I'll add a link in case you want it. It also has vocabulary exercises. That might be something you might want to look into. But yeah, as always, if you like the video, please just leave a thumbs up and leave a comment down below in case you have any kind of feedback, if you have suggestions, if there's anything I can do to make the videos more useful. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.